and welcome to the Power Up Talk Show, a talk show where we bring together community leaders and inspirational people that are making a difference in our world. I am Sandy Spady, your host, and welcome to our show. Before I introduce my amazing, sweet, sparkly friend, I am going to always kick it off with a little spirits from Dion Bass.
Let's be a big ray of light today and make ourselves a nice little strawberry Southside. Nice. We're going to start out with our Brickway gin. And give it a little pour. Then we're going to add some St. Germain elderflower liqueur. Our next ingredient is going to be a little strawberry. Gotta have your strawberry. It makes everything a little bit more yummy.
Great.
And lastly, we're going to add some lemon juice. Now what we didn't see is off camera, I cut up a little cucumber and I did a little muddling and I put it in the glass already. So let's shake. All right. This is gonna be nice and aromatic.
Smell it.
I'm already thirsty for it. Just bring it over here. Yummy.
And lastly, what drink is it made a little more wonderful with champagne?
Just keep pouring the champagne. It's like the leftovers.
Anytime you're celebrating champagne. And there we have it, our strawberry Southside. Enjoy the show, ladies.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
All righty, Amy.
Cheers.
Okay, here we go. Oh, that's good.
Dion.
Dion is for hire if anyone wants to hire him for any special activity or cocktail hour. But now it's all on Amy, my sparkly friend, Amy Bodenner. She is the heart behind Sunflower Advisories, where they have a mission to break the chaos in your world and bring in peace. I'm going to say it, I added that peace. Bringing in a new life for you professionally and personally, and it's through really loving what you do, actually, right?
Absolutely.
You get people to love what they do.
Absolutely.
Miss Amy, and she always has sparkles. Okay, I love it. Amy, I want to hear about you.
About me?
Share everything about you. You know, Sunflower Advisors, like how'd you come up with that name? You know, you went off on your own. You've done, you know, I call ourselves seasoned, right?
Yeah.
We've done a lot of things.
Seasoned is
so
great.
share with the audience just a little bit about Amy.
Well, I think I'll start. I was a manager at a restaurant for many, many years. I won't say how many. But, you know, I led teams and I thought that I did it well and I loved managing the chaos. But in 2017, I had the wonderful privilege to go work for a company that had it all together. They had a great product, a great team, and a big vision. They were just hitting the wall, and they didn't know why. And they did something bold. They said, how can we do this different? We need to do something different. And they explored a different avenue that was a new way to communicate, a new way to hold people accountable, and a new way to lead. And it really changed everything. And I would love to say that it just changed things for the business, but it really infiltrated how my life outside of work was being affected. I learned to communicate in a different way. I learned to lead in a different way. I learned to listen, and that was really, really powerful. And when they were bold and stepped out and tried to do something different, it was unbelievable. The leadership team, where we thought we were on the same page, where, you know, if you were on the outside looking in, it looked like we had it all together, but we were not in the same boat, rowing in the same direction, on the same cadence. And by taking a step back and saying, how can we do this different? It really propelled the company. So when they sold the company a few years later, I was really thinking, how can I take what I learned there in the trenches and help other business leaders stop hitting that wall and be able to learn to lead better, get their team on the same page, and then knocking their goals out of the park. And I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
Nice. And how did you come up with the name Sunflower?
I'm a Kansas girl.
See, there's always a story
I'm
behind
a Kansas
it. Yes.
girl, but if you research the sunflower, it is resilient. It grows in rocky condition. It always faces the sun. It can weather the storm. And there's a whole lot of meaning behind that that kind of reflects who I am as a person and what I do for other companies.
Yeah. So, well, who's your ideal company that you'd like to work with?
Growth-minded companies that are just, they're repeating the same thing. They're solving the same solutions. Like, I thought we solved this. Why is this a problem again? And maybe just aren't hitting their goals. And I'm not a long-term gig. I want to go in. My goal is not to create dependency on me. My goal is to go in and assess what you've got going on, helping you find the bottlenecks, and then helping you learn how to solve that where you become independent on your own. So it is not a dependency on me. It's a dependency on, let's find where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are. Let's figure out where that bottleneck is and learn how to attack that bottleneck. And then you learn the skills you need so that you can soar after that.
Absolutely. It's like a good counselor.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. A good counselor wants to give you the tools and things to better and to get better and grow so you can go on your own and you don't need them all the time.
Absolutely.
And it's just like a coach. I'm a coach, you're a coach.
Yeah.
It's about giving the tools, but sometimes they need a cheerleader or a challenger, right? I love challenging my girls.
Absolutely.
I challenge them all the time. I'm like, Friday challenge. But you need that cheerleader. You need someone that's there and out of the picture that can look in.
Absolutely.
Because when you're in the chaos, as you said, chaos, right? You don't see it.
Right.
And even as coaches, you really can be on the out looking in and then given the tools, and it's coming from an opposite person. It's not like your manager's giving the tools or someone else is giving the tools. A stranger's coming in, you're giving the tools because you have experience, right? Yeah. And then they can work together.
Absolutely.
And that's what's wonderful. That's why I think, a lot of companies really should look at bringing outside coaches in for workshops and tools and goals and everything, because when you have the same people doing it within the company,
you miss it.
They miss it. They don't miss it. They don't see it, and they want something fresh. And then they see that they're investing in your company, right?
Absolutely.
They're investing in your employees.
Absolutely.
So we're here we are. If you guys need us, we're right here.
Yeah, it is not an expense. It is an investment in
It's
growth.
an investment, yes.
And a lot of people just have the blinders on it. I mean, we all have blinders. Come on. We all have blinders. And I get to come in and look at the company from a higher level, from a higher altitude, and look down. And that's where I can see the roadblocks or the doors that are open. And I'm just like, 2 steps to the left, and then you can walk through.
Yes, they need that vision.
Absolutely.
Who's your ideal, you travel, because you have a client in Kansas City.
I do.
So what's your range that you go to?
I'm willing to travel.
Give me a ticket and airplane.
Yeah,
Give me a ticket
and airplane.
And a ticket, a hotel, maybe a spa, and I'm right there.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I'm willing to travel. I mean, obviously, I have a heart for Omaha, and I've got a love for Kansas. So I've got some clients in Kansas because that's where I'm from. But
Anywhere.
Europe.
Yeah.
Italy,
and
Spain.
I'm her sidekick.
Spain. Anybody in Spain
I'm her traveler
watching today?
partner, yes, for that. Let's talk about all those years, because in hospitality, everyone that knows me knows that I grew up with a mom and pop restaurant. I love hospitality. I will support them 24/7.
Absolutely.
And I think there's so much you learn. Like, I learned my power of my voice, community. I bring it to my keynote speeches. With you, with all of those years of background in hospitality, what did you learn?
You can fix anything with relationships. Yeah. Relationships are so powerful, and I think they're underestimated. And as a restaurant manager, I knew that my employees would never care about the guest or the guest experience if I didn't care about them. Yeah. So how I treated my employees reflected and was a reflection in the experience that my guests got. So how I treated them, how I talked to them, how I developed them and saw something greater in themselves than them just waiting tables or greeting guests at the front door, really impacted the guests that came in, which built my business. But it also, I am a proponent that everybody should work in the restaurant industry before they get big girl and big boy jobs. There is so much that can be learned there. Absolutely. And the skills that you learn there can flow into any other job that you have in the future. Being kind to people, being please and thank you, being organized, learning to live on a budget,
learning
all
to
of
get yelled
those
at,
things.
right?
Absolutely.
Learning to get yelled at. And my thing, I was a car hop.
Absolutely.
I had the change maker, right? As a car hop growing up, 7th and 8th grade. I can count back money like no tomorrow. And I watch people sometimes, once in a while I use cash or give them like the quarter, like it's $6.25, like in the quarter, and I just have them look at me like, you give me cash? And then like, I'm like, just give me $6, you know. That alone, I think, is the lost art. So many people don't know how to cut back change. But
Absolutely.
all of those tools that you learn, patience, customer service, taking criticism,
Problem solving,
showing up on time. I mean, it's so important.
I agree.
And it's one of the toughest, but most rewarding because you get to meet all kinds of people.
Agreed. And I've more years than I will ever say, but I have got strong relationships with people that I worked 20, 25 years ago that I wouldn't change for anything in the world.
You never lose your connections.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
It's I call it my back pocket referral in my keynote, and it's like you never lose those connections.
Absolutely.
And even like a chamber cheerleader, I worked or volunteered for chambers my entire life. You never lose those.
No, absolutely.
Those customers, those clients, it's all relationships.
Oh, absolutely. And I've not only my employees have had an impact on me, and hopefully I've had an impact on them, but I have got regular guests that I, to this day, consider family. Nice. We've got a family in Mississippi that comes to Omaha. They've got a little guy that was airlifted here for medical assistance, and they come every 6 months, and they stay with us. And I would, they started out with people that were coming into the restaurant every Tuesday, and they are now considered family, and I absolutely would not change that for anything in the world.
You know what is so beautiful about what you just said? And so many, I think, managers or business owners don't see it, is to see that.
Yeah.
Is to see that they're coming in here, you're meeting them, you're hearing their story, you're listening to them, and then you build that relationship.
Absolutely.
And all this time later, look, and now they
gosh.
stay with you.
How old is Hunter? Is 8 now?
Yes.
8 or 9? I don't know.
You know, I often say that when I manage clothing stores, I was a district manager for, a long time, that everyone wants to be the manager, but not everyone can manage people.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a gift. And you could go to college for all this business degrees and all this. I trained a lot of managers, and they get their first store, and they don't know how to treat people, employees, customers, any of that. So it's like, it's something you learn as you work.
Absolutely.
And it's so true. I mean, all those years working, and to have those employees respect you, that says a lot about you and your husband is in it right now, right?
He is.
Yes.
He is.
So how do you bridge your years of hospitality into coaching, into all of that? Because it kind of just all blends.
It does. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a background, a history. We've all got things that we've got to work on. And it's just, I think a lot of it is just showing people that you can change, you can learn, you can grow. And especially, a lot of times, especially with startup companies or companies that I work with, they've got the grit, they've got the energy, they pour in the time, and that got them to a certain spot, but now they need something different to get them to a different level, right? And by building those relationships, by getting to know who they are and why they do what they do and what they're passionate about, it helps me analyze what we need to do next and how we can help them live their best life doing what they love and be able to make a money and a career and a lifestyle, not only for them and their employees, but for their families as well.
It's so important that managers look at what their employees are good at.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I'm never going to be good at emails, but I can, I'm great with people. I can take a room of 200 and do it, but a lot of companies, I think they micromanage and they, because that's their style. But I'm sure you go into styles of management and styles of personalities of your clients, because when you let them be what they're good at.
Oh, absolutely.
What are they? They're called happy.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
And I've had time and time again, both in the restaurant and out of the restaurant, we've hired the person that we thought was going to be a great server, and we turn out they are a fabulous bartender. Yes. Or we hired someone for the kitchen because they didn't see more in themselves, yes. And then we brought them out to be a host, and they thrived. Yes. I've been in companies where someone has been in the sales seat, and they were the right person for the company, the right person for the culture, but that's not where their strengths were. And we moved them to, a client success position, and they thrived.
So important.
So yeah, it's being able to gauge who they are, where they are, and where they need to be playing the game. And once you get them in the right position, they're happier, right? The culture's better. Like everything just kind of flows from there.
It's kind of like when you really pay attention to your employees.
Oh, absolutely.
And know what they love and what their passion is. Because I talk about like the power of community. Your company, what do you believe in? Where's your heart, right?
Right.
What nonprofit? There's so many nonprofits in Omaha that are beautiful.
We'll talk about all those all day
yeah,
long.
all day long, right? And I encourage companies to pick a nonprofit and then work together and to show up and volunteer together. You're building relationships, you're building a bond, the community knows where your heart is, and you get to know each other outside of the office.
Well, and the thing about that is when you go to serve nonprofits or in any capacity, you go with the intention to bless that community, to bless that organization, to bless those people. And every time without fail, I go home with way more blessings. I was like, wait a second, this was not
Say
how
it
this
all the
was supposed to
time.
work.
Yeah.
And, there is something about building a team when you guys are elbow grease together, helping other people. And it also helps you appreciate what you have and be grateful for what you have. You may not have the mansion, you may not have the house in Italy, whatever, but what you have, you can be grateful for.
And another thing that I noticed too is that a lot of consumers are really looking at the company's passion. Like when they go to book a hotel room or if they want to do a caterer, like what do they believe in? What's their beliefs? Who do they support? Because nowadays, I think that younger consumers, right, they really are passionate about making a change in the world.
Absolutely.
And so they look at what your company's supporting. They look at what, who you work with as far as nonprofits, and because they want to give their money to where their cause is too.
Well, one of the things that I think is important both as a professional, as a company, and as on a personal level is to have core values that say who you are and what you stand for and what you believe in. And they need to be something that you live and breathe, not something that you're like, oh, I want to be this. It needs to be who you are now. And when you have those at a company level, and when you have those at a family level or even a personal level, it makes your yeses easy. It makes your no's easy. It makes your decision. Why am I?
Well, hold on. We need a break.
It makes your decisions easier, and it lets people know who you stand, what you stand for, and who you are. And I think everybody having core values is pivotal for how you build relationships. I mean, for single people, who do you date? Who do you not date? Like as a business, are we doing this? Are we doing that?
Them, what do they believe in?
Absolutely.
Because it's once again who you hang out with, what you read, what you listen to. It influences you.
Well,
and even what makes me think of you also not only professionally consult.
I do.
But you also do family and couple?
I do. So what I learned in this company about how to do things differently, and it all comes down to communications, setting obtainable goals, not the ones that are too easy that nobody wants to try for, or the ones that are too hard that are like, well, there's no way we're going to get there. Why even try? But what I truly stumbled into, this process that I use works for couples where maybe their marriages are not as cute and bubbly and, as they used to be, or maybe they're hitting a wall and can't figure out what's wrong. And again, it really comes down to how you communicate, active listening, learning to fight fair, all of those things. So I've got several couples that I've just gone in and I've looked at it at a higher altitude and we've learned some skills together, and then I teach them how to practice it, and then I release them back to the wild, I guess.
It really is the same techniques, the same strategies, but just on a personal versus business. And I think just like a business or a couple that's married, for 32 years and their kids go off to college, you need a rebirth.
Absolutely.
A business has been around for, 25 years. Everyone knows them, but they forgot about them because they haven't done much. They need a rebirth. And that's always fun to work with too. It's like, okay, let's find what makes us solid, what brought us together as a couple, what made our company successful all these years, but then do a fresher.
Absolutely. And it's important for couples that have the kids. It's so easy, and I'm speaking as a mom here, it's so easy to lose, like be so kid focused that you lose the relationship that was there before the kids ever came. And it is important that that a couple stay grounded in who they are, because the kids are going to go away, right? We're going to launch them out into the universe, and we need to remember who we are and still have a foundation once they're gone. Because if you just stay focused on one thing, and we're not talking about goals and where we want to be in 3, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, one may say, I see us in Florida, and the other one says, I see us in Colorado. And we're like, well, wait a second, how did we get here? Yeah. But if we're taking the time to talk about where our goals are and what steps we need to take to get there, then we're going to be on the same page.
Communication.
It all comes down to communication,
right?
Yep.
But it's just like in a company, if you get mad at one of your coworkers, what do? You shut down.
Yeah.
In a marriage, what do? You shut down.
Mm-hmm.
You don't talk. And you need that person, that outsider, to come in and like bring them back and let's talk about this.
Well, I wasn't modeled listening, fighting fair, how to communicate either with a peer, a boss, a spouse, a sibling. It was not modeled well for me growing up. So it's a skill that you can learn, but you got to take the time and invest in ability, in learning it.
Yes, and I think everyone has something in their childhood or something that probably wasn't right, but it doesn't mean you have to repeat it.
Absolutely.
Same thing with work. Once again, it makes sense that you do both, because it's the same thing. Like, you just have to realize it, focus that you have a problem, find the solution, and then try to take care of it. But if you can't accept that you have something like, your employees aren't talking. Oh yeah, they are talking. No, they're not talking. You have to accept the problem, just like in a marriage, and then figure out a way to get them back together.
Right, and a lot of times it's not the person, it's not the heart. Yeah. They've got the heart and the desire to do what's right. It's the ability to be able to communicate that and get on the same page, and that's true both marriage, relationships anywhere, whether it's personal or professional.
It makes complete sense that you do both. What about your ideal group of people to work with? I mean, do you prefer like 8 to 10, or do you want like 100? Like, does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's the same tools.
It's the same tools, and really, I've got several clients in several different industries, and one of my newer clients was like, well, you're not in our industry, how can you help us? And I'm like, let me tell you, the problems are the same.
Yeah.
Like, because you're in this industry and I haven't been specifically in that industry, I promise you, it's a communication, it's a listening, it's a, the underlying problems are the same, and that's true professionally and personally as well.
Absolutely. Well, now let's talk about Amy.
Let's talk about me.
Okay,
what do you want to know?
As a little girl, what was your favorite outfit?
Oh gosh, I was a tomboy.
Did you have one?
I did.
Like your favorite everyday on the summer.
I was total tomboy. I had
jeans, Converse.
I had no place for Barbies. Put me on a dirt bike. Put me on the Hot Wheels. Sliding in the dirt.
Now, did you have brothers?
I didn't. I was raised as an only child, and then I had a stepbrother and sister for few years, which I absolutely loved at that time. But no, I had a lot of neighbor kids and a lot of great cousins. My mom is one of 6, and there were a lot of cousins, and we were together all the time. Our families did a really good job keeping us together.
Now, do you remember the first drive-in movie you went to?
Absolutely, Star Wars.
I love it. I love mine. I love it.
And then there was like I can't remember what the rated R one was. After that, we were supposed to be asleep in the back, but we weren't asleep. But I don't remember what it was.
Caddyshack, because my first rated R was Caddyshack with my older sisters, and I got approval.
Yeah.
Caddyshack, that was such a good movie. So. What about like a song like your favorite song, or a song that represents who you are? You're going on the stage to speak, because you speak. What's your opening song? I love when they ask me my opening song.
So when I do talk about active listening, I do have an active listening keynote that I give, and I start with a story that took place in 1999, so of course it's Prince's 1999. Absolutely, it's the way to rock out on stage. But if I had a song that embodied me, there's a song by For King and Country, and it's called Joy. And it's all about, I choose joy. No matter the circumstance, I'm going to choose to look at this as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn. I'm going to choose joy. And so if there was a song that embodied me, I think that would be what it is.
I love that. I just heard something from one of my great gals, Mel Robbins, right? High five.
Yeah, high five, Mel
I love it. Let's do it. And she said how, like, you can't control how people treat you, you know, but you can control how you react.
Absolutely.
Right? You can either like, poor me, or I'm mad and I'm going to talk about that person now and be a flying monkey. Or you can be like, okay, I'm not going to change how she feels or how that person feels, but I can change how I react. And I can either let it ruin my day, or I could be like, okay, that hurt, ouch. But you know what? I'm going to still go make it my best day ever. Absolutely. And so many people want people squashed down, right?
Oh,
and so it
Not my
took a
people.
lot. I think it comes with wisdom and knowledge, and you know, been there, done that. And it's kind of like, now I feel like we're seasoned and that we can share some of that knowledge when it comes to personal and professional.
absolutely. And I think a lot of times, you know, a lot of people that are that way, that tear people down, it's because they've been hurt in the past. And they are, you know, coming from a different perspective, and that we need to pause, and we can either walk away from that, or we can lean in and just say, hey, what's going on in your world? What's going on here? How can I help? Versus responding in kind, right?
Absolutely.
And then there are the people that you're like, you know what? Not today.
Yeah.
Not
And-
on my
and
watch.
they're
and I'm
never
gonna
gonna
walk
be your
away.
people.
They're never going to be, right?
So don't try to please everyone.
Nope,
right?
absolutely not.
All right, how can we find Amy Bodenner?
Oh my gosh. Amy, you can reach me, email amy@sunfloweradvisors.com, website sunfloweradvisors.com, Insta, Facebook, all of the good things.
Yeah, and we'll share that because we have a Power Up YouTube channel, and then on KPAO. They're giving me in trouble. But we're going to share all that information too.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Amy, for being
Thanks
a part.
for having me. I love
how
being here.
You have sparkles in her hair. All right, everyone, go out there and learn to communicate, help each other out, talk to each other, because nothing can get solved until you look at the problem. So this is Sandy Spady. Thank you for being and joining us today, and just go make it the best day ever.